Hey everybody, it's me, Zach. This is Judy, and welcome back to our channel. Hey everybody, today we're back for episode 3 of season 2 of the 1,000 Pound Sisters. Y'all, this has been so much fun. I'm glad y'all are enjoying this. I think I've said this a few times, but I don't know, when I post Slayton videos, y'all just come to the comments. Y'all are so wholesome. Y'all are so kind towards me, kind towards Amy, kind towards Tammy. And I just want to say I really appreciate it. Sometimes some of the content I post on this channel, it doesn't always end up that way, no matter how hard I try. But I just appreciate how kind everybody is on these videos, and your love for Tammy, your love for Amy, your love for Lil Bit, Michael, Chris, etc. I don't know, it just like brings me joy to come here every week and make these videos about these folks, this show, and everything, and I just really enjoy it. I also quickly want to give a shout out to Tammy. Well, one, Tammy has been very kind in like reposting my Instagram stories onto her Instagram stories, so I just want to give a shout out to Tammy for sharing my videos all the time on her story. But I also want to give a shout out to her because she's blowing up on the TikTok. The last time I gave y'all a TikTok update on Tammy, we were celebrating that she had hit 100K. That was like a week ago. She's at almost 500,000 followers on TikTok. So if y'all don't follow her on TikTok and you're on the TikTok, you can go find her. I think it's Queen Tammy 86. Go give her a follow, show her some love because she's blowing up over there. And I would just like to send her that encouragement there and congratulate her. Like, that is wild. She's really blown up. Now, part of the reason she's blown up is because of the specific TikTok that is out there. TLC originally put it out there. It's the "my bills are paid" thing. Okay, she's blown up because she's been reacting to people doing that and recreating that. And I thought, well, I didn't just think this on my own, a lot of you requested it, but I thought it might be fun for me and Judy to react to it. Although Judy is kind of, y'all sometimes ask like, well, how do you get Judy to just stay there the whole time? This is Judy's natural state, like a majority of the 24 hours of the day. Like, she just likes to hang out. She just likes to chill. She's an old lady and she just wants to relax. But if I can get her to, I think we will try to recreate it. What do you think, Judy? Can we recreate this? Are you ready?
Try being my size, Amy. You don't know how it is. There's stuff you can do. You want to be a big baby about everything. Hey, baby, you're the damn baby. Grow up. You first. Bitch, I've been grown. I pay my bills. My bills are paid.
I hope you all enjoyed that, and I thought it would just be silly. If you liked it, I don't know, leave a comment down below. Let me know you enjoyed it. If you thought it was stupid, don't tell me, I don't want to know. So episode 3 is titled Wake Up Call, and like, honestly, truly, I feel like every moment of this episode was a fucking wake up call. Y'all, it was so stressful and so serious in a way. Like, last week was very emotional. I had a lot of feels last week, but this week was just like, y'all, what? Every single scene in this almost is a wake-up call. It is a wake-up, you gotta do something, okay? So of course we start off the episode where the last episode left off, which was them leaving Dr. Proctor's office, and they pile into the van and they're driving away, and Tammy's like sitting here in this van, head all wedged up next to her wheelchair. She's laying on the floor of the van, and she acknowledges that she's like essentially at this point just sitting around waiting for death. Chris and Amy start to go in on Tammy and saying like, sis, you gotta do better. You gotta do better, which of course gives us a classic blow up from Tammy.
Well, practice what you preaching, bitch. I have been, bitch. Whatever.
I mean, I really thought that whole, like, interaction of practice what you preach then, bitch, was like, oh my god, y'all, these fights, classic. These fights, classic. I definitely understand where they're both coming from, but I think what continues to be the theme, I mean, this was the theme in season 1, and it continues to be the theme in season 2, is that they both want to focus on holding each other accountable before they're going to hold themselves accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like throughout the whole episode, I was just thinking like, if y'all could stop, like, I know y'all want to be there to support each other, but y'all got to put yourself first. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. If your cup isn't full, then how are you gonna pour it into anybody else's cup? Like, I get cameos frequently that are like, Zach, give me like weight loss inspiration. I'm like, listen, I'm not a weight loss whoever, whatever, inspiration. But when it comes to like making any kind of change for yourself, like you have to be committed to making that commitment, right? If you wouldn't break that commitment to your siblings, so in this case, if these two wouldn't break their commitments to each other because they're very concerned with how the other one's doing, then they need to apply that same energy to themselves, right? Like they need to keep those commitments to themselves because at the end of the day, they're worth it. They're worth it, and they deserve for themselves and nobody else to take care of themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's usually my philosophy and feedback for folks is like, you can't sit over here worried about Judy Lou Who. Well, I usually put Judy Lou Who before myself. Not a good example. You can't be over here sitting here thinking about, I gotta take care of my friends, I gotta take care of my partner, I gotta take care of my family, and then not take care of yourself. You know, it feels selfish, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be a better friend, partner, family member, etc. to those people when you take care of yourself. So Chris does try to meditate the little argument they're having, but Tammy not having it, which like, I don't know, as she's not having it, like for me, if this isn't one of the biggest wake-up calls, because Chris is pointing out like, Tammy, we gotta get you mobile. Like, that is our number one concern, is that Dr. Proctor was like, if you don't get mobile, like your chances of like death and illness and things like that are gonna increase. And she can't seem to get this wake-up call while she's literally immobile, laying in the back of a van with her head wedged up against the wheelchair, which is the only way outside of the vehicle that she could get around. Like, for me, I'm just like, Tammy girl, this is your wake-up call. This is it. So they go back to the hotel the next day. Chris wakes up and he says, girl, I got you this healthy breakfast from the Waffle House. I don't know if y'all spotted the Waffle House logo on all the containers, but he got her an egg white omelet and some yogurt. And y'all, these Slaytons and their Greek yogurt slander, I just won't have it. I just won't have it. We got Chris coming in here slandering yogurt, saying it smells gross, saying it's awful, saying this.
That's not one of the desired tastes that you want in your life.
I was just like, Chris, not necessary. Not necessary. Greek yogurt is good. Greek yogurt is good. Okay, I will. Listen, I think I might follow my sword for some Greek yogurt. So we get into this thing again, and again, this is a theme throughout the whole episode, so I hope I don't get too repetitive, but Tammy's blaming Amy. She's blaming Amy, saying Amy brings all this food into the house, this, that, the other. Chris is like, well, listen, I'm gonna be better for you. I'm gonna do better than Amy did in being a weight loss partner, because I'm gonna push you. And for some reason, I think it's honestly just that, like, in the moment, it sounds good to Tammy and she's on camera, but Tammy's like, oh yeah, I totally think you're gonna be better for me. Like, you're totally gonna, you know, do this in a different way than Amy ever tried to do. And I'm like, I'm a little sus about that. I'm a little sus, but Chris is like, listen, I'm gonna join you on this weight loss journey. And then we get this whole montage of Chris's life. I did appreciate him talking a little bit about how like scarcity of food and growing up poor kind of manifested in their eating habits today, right? Because like when you grow up and you go to bed hungry, you sometimes like just eat whatever you can when you have it, when you can eat it. And I think that makes a lot of sense for being reasons to why like they eat the way they do. I'm sure there's actually like a lot more to it than just that, but that does provide a lot of insight. But yeah, we get this whole montage of Chris, and I guess instead of 1,000-pound sisters, we're probably gonna have to start calling this 1,000-pound siblings, because after this point, they start adding him to the couch, they squeeze him in on that couch, they start adding him to everything, he gets his own confessional, so I guess Chris is just here to stay. If you thought you were gonna get rid of Chris, honey, You thought wrong. But no lies, I kind of spaced out when Chris was talking. When the Chris montage was playing, because I was like, I didn't sign up for this. I surely didn't. I surely did not. This is not what I came here for, TLC. They make a short stop at the Georgia Aquarium, which, like, bitch. I love that place. I've only been once. I went to a wedding with Noel in Atlanta a couple years ago. We'd only been dating for like maybe a year at that point, but we made it a point to go to the Georgia Aquarium while we were there, and that place, beautiful. The whale sharks, beautiful. Those were my favorite things there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love them. I love them. But that's not what this show is about. Listen, we're here. They're having fun. I'm glad that they got a chance to go out and about while they were there. I will say that this kind of makes me think that there might be some credit to the person who said that at some other point they saw them at the St. Louis Zoo. So, you know, we love folks who are out and about seeing the animals. What I don't love so much is that they started making jokes about how Tammy looked like a beluga whale.
Tammy looked like a beluga whale. Her forehead and the beluga whale's forehead looks just alike.
And while I get it, and I think it definitely is different when it comes from them and they're saying it about themselves and their family, and, you know, I think that there's a lot of nuance to, you know, making jokes about yourself versus other people making jokes about you. I do kind of wish that they wouldn't, like, default to making jokes like that, because I kind of feel like that's what leads people to believe that it's, like, normal and okay to send things like that beware a pig sign that we've seen a few times on the show that was sent to Tammy in her P.O. box. Like, I think when you start making those jokes, it kind of leads to some other people, not correctly for what it's worth. Like, I don't think anybody should be saying those things about Tammy or Amy, and except for, I guess, like, Tammy and Amy if they want to say those things about themselves, you know? But I just wish that they could, like, you know, they are funny girls. Like, I wish they didn't have to resort to, like, self-deprecating humor all the time. So then is kind of like a big chunk of the show, or this episode, it's where they go to therapy, okay? So there's, like, a lot that's covered, and I think I'm gonna try to just give my most general of thoughts about it. Well, not most general, like, I'm not gonna, like, just speak too general, but I don't know that I can speak about it chronologically like I usually do with this show, okay? Because there was just so much that happened, and it was like probably a third of the entire episode, if I'm gonna be honest with you. So you all know, well, you might not know if you're new to my channel, but like, I talk about therapy quite often on my channel. I think it's really important to do because it helps destigmatize concerns around mental health and going to therapy. I mean, even in just like listening to Amy talk about therapy, it's clear she has an idea of what therapy is that isn't necessarily what therapy is, right? So she even says, like, before they go to the appointment, that she doesn't think she needs therapy because she already got her surgery, which is kind of messed up thinking, because it's not like a ticket to surgery. It's a tool to help you get into the mind place to, like, continue practicing healthy behaviors, right? She also says something that I hear people say a lot about therapy, which is, I can tell my friends my feelings for free. And sure, yes, that is true. I would agree. I have friends who I could call up on the phone and talk to about my feelings, and I think that's, like, an important thing to have in your life, right? Like, literally just this weekend, I spent like an hour on the phone with my friend Janine just talking about how I'm feeling. Okay, so that's important, but that's not what therapy is, right? What you need to know about therapy is that people who are therapists are professionals who have learned specific practices and methods to help people talk about their feelings, manage their feelings, process their feelings, and go out and live successful lives, okay? So a therapist has an intentional plan. When you're talking to a friend, you might not get that, okay? You unless your friend's a therapist, but even then, like, I would guess most people who are therapists for full-time jobs aren't trying to be therapists to all of their friends, okay? I don't have any friends in real life that are therapists, I don't think. But if I did, I would assume that they probably wouldn't want to spend all of our friendship being my personal therapist. Okay, so there is something that you're getting that is different from talking to a friend, because they're going to have an intentional plan and use intentional tools to help you go through all of those things. It's very different than just like venting to a friend. It's more than that. So having a friend who you can talk to and share your feelings with, important for sure. A therapist, different role. So they're on their way to go to the therapist, and there's another like wake up call moment where Tammy is being pushed up a ramp in her wheelchair by her brother Chris. Chris loses his footing because his shoe falls off, and they start freaking out that she's gonna roll over backwards and roll over him.
Stop it. My shoe came off.
Amy's even concerned to some extent because she was like, listen, if that was me behind there and she had knocked me over, like something could have happened to the baby, who knows? And I think, again, it's just like, this is a wake-up call for you, sis. This is a wake-up call. So they get to the actual therapy appointment, and I just was caught off guard a little bit. Like, I assumed that they would go in and like pull off their masks and everything because I'd seen clips. So I saw them walking in with the mask, but I'm like, those aren't gonna stay on. And then they said, just like they did in Dr. Proctor's office, okay? They said, oh, we all got COVID tested here. We're all good. Let's take our masks off. And I was thinking, y'all got COVID tested, but you also just showed us a clip where they were at the Georgia Aquarium with lots of other people. Now, were they wearing masks there? Yes, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have contacted or come in contact with it somehow, you know? So I'm just like, what's going on? But I'm just gonna hope, for the sake of hope, that it was maybe filmed out of order or something, or not filmed out of order, but edited out of order. Like, maybe they went to all these appointments and then they went to the Georgia Aquarium and they just, you know, kind of showed us all of it in some made up, edited order. That wasn't what really happened. So in general, my thoughts on the therapist is that she seemed to be good. Okay, like I enjoyed her and the way she approached therapy with the two of them. She's no Lola from My 600 Pound Life. Okay, y'all, I don't know if y'all know this, but I stan Lola on My 600 Pound Life. Okay, she's my favorite. I think she's such a great therapist from what we get to see on TV. But I do overall think she did a good job. My larger question is, why are we starting therapy with this woman if she's in Atlanta and we already know that Tammy and Amy are not going to be coming back to Atlanta for appointments with Dr. Proctor? Like, that's my confusion. Like, what's the point in even getting therapy started? Because really, the reality of therapy is that, like, it's best over multiple times. Like, you don't go to one therapy appointment and suddenly all of your problems are fixed, right? So that seemed a little weird to me. I mean, it's probably just like convenience of they were there to film the show, so they tried to get scenes to put into the show. But for me, I'm just like, why are we even here to begin with if y'all are never going to come back to this therapist again? And I don't know, maybe sometime they will. Who knows? They could also do teletherapy. That's currently how I'm engaging in therapy. So there's lots of options, but I did think it was strange. They get started off by Tammy bringing up this thing again where she's like, listen, Amy brings me all these bad foods. What am I supposed to do? But then they get cut back up in this like back and forth of like, it's your fault, you're the bad guy. Why are you calling me a bad guy? I'm not the bad guy. I just don't like to be made out to be a bad guy. And it's just like, y'all are on the same team. Y'all are on the same team. Now, what did throw me off is that Amy said that sometimes Tammy will threaten to call the cops.
Sometimes you say, this is my money. If you don't do it, I'm going to call the cops on you.
If she doesn't spend Tammy's money on the things that she wants. And so I'm just like, that's a lot. And Amy says that Michael will vouch for that. And Tammy is like, listen, I'm about to get the F up and walk out of here. And I said, are you really though? Are you really? Because you literally had to be pushed in by Chris. So are you gonna get up and walk out? And maybe this needs to be a wake-up call. Honestly, truly, like, I would hate to be stuck in a room where I was feeling hostile towards the other people that were currently in the room, you know? So maybe that needs to be, like, maybe that could be motivation to, like, do better. It's just like, I want to be able to freely go wherever the F I want so I don't have to deal with my sister when I'm tired of her shit. They also had a moment where Amy was talking a lot about like, oh, I bring you cake. You always ask me for cake and cookies. And Tammy's like, listen, I don't always ask for cake and cookies. I don't even like sweets. Like, I don't ask you for that a lot. Now, I do ask for fried food a lot. But I don't ask about the sweets. I was just like, oh, okay, sis. Okay, girl, this is the hill we want to die on right now. Whether or not you ask for sweets when you admit that you ask her to bring you fried food all the time. All right, okay. I do think that the therapist has a good conversation with them about like trying to figure out how to say no and taking responsibility for themselves. So like, for instance, talking to Amy about how she can say no, and Amy's response is, well, she's gonna get mad if I say no. And the therapist is like, but her actions aren't your responsibility. Like, you can only be responsible for the things that you do. And I think that that's a good conversation to have, and I think it kind of goes with what I was saying earlier, which is like, ultimately, you have to make a commitment to yourself because the only person we can control and take care of is ourselves, right? Like, yes, we hope to have other people who are going to come and help us out and do things for us. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for Zachary Mike, and Amy's responsible for Amy, Tammy's responsible for Tammy. I don't know if that really got through to them, but I thought what the therapist was saying was like very helpful to their situation. Tammy does shut down, and I did enjoy getting to hear a little bit more from Tammy about like why that's her response, why she shuts down so often, because that is something we've seen her do time and time again on the show. And she talks about how like she just doesn't want to deal with the fighting, and the easiest way to stop the fighting is to just not contribute anymore, which is true. Like, it stops the fighting, but it also doesn't resolve anything. And I think that what she's missing is that therapy could help the two of them find ways to talk to each other, to hear each other, to listen to each other, and not just like fight. Ultimately though, the therapist is like, hey, I don't think Tammy is gonna be a good candidate for this surgery. Like, there's a lot of behaviors and thinking patterns that are gonna have to change before she's ever gonna be a successful candidate for this surgery. I think Amy also had some good, like, eye-opening moments in therapy, and I think if she could see how helpful that was for her to get there and say those things out loud, that she would see what a good tool therapy would be. And that came when she started talking about wanting to be a good mom. I think she takes a lot of the things about her current weight and eating behaviors personally, because a lot of people keep tying it to, well, don't you want to be a good mom? Like, don't you want to be there for your child? And she has this fear in the back of her mind that she's gonna be a bad mom. She's gonna like repeat things that her mom did. And the therapist is like, hey, I've shared those feelings before. Like, those are normal feelings to want to do better at parenting than what we had as parents. But like, I got there by doing therapy, by working through my problems. And I don't think that, well, I know that Amy didn't hear that, didn't see that, didn't receive that. I hope watching it back, if she's watching it back, I don't know, I assume she is. But I hope if she watches it back, she sees like what a breakthrough that was to see that some of your current behaviors are connected to, you know, these strong feelings you have about being a mother, being a good mother, your experiences in your relationship with your own mother, and really just wanting the best for your child. She does say feelings are hard, and I agree, and I think the therapist agrees, and that's why the therapist said, listen, you gotta practice this. You gotta practice working through your feelings and your emotions. You know, you don't just, with a flip of the switch, suddenly be good at sharing your emotions with people. I'm guessing if she has troubles sharing her feelings with a therapist, that it's probably just as hard for her to share feelings with regular people too. Like, she mentioned that she has all of these people that she could go to, but she also says in the same breath, like, hey, I was always taught not to share my feelings. So I'm guessing that there's some more work, some more practice that needs to be done around that. I'm not a therapist though. I'm just saying, like, that's me, I guess, really speaking from my own experiences with therapy and like coming to terms with being able to talk openly with people about how I'm feeling. So they have a pretty uneventful trip back home to Kentucky. They had some clips in there. I don't know. I honestly didn't feel any type of way about it, but they get back to Kentucky and Amy and Tammy and Michael come together and they say, we're gonna cook a healthy meal together. They're cooking some eggplant parmesan and some scatty squash, which, like, y'all, I love a spaghetti squash. It's one of my faves. I actually haven't gotten one in a while. I feel like I should, but I love spaghetti squash, okay? It's one of my fave things to eat. It's low-cal. I started eating it for the first time when I did keto years ago, and it's something that I've continued to, like, put into my eating habits, okay? My regular menu of food. Watching them cook is hilarious though, and I really want to find a reason to use this clip. Mama! Just like imagine, there's gotta be something. Like, I don't know, maybe the next time I react to Steven Sushi, I could be like, mama, it's hot! And apparently what TLC wants us to believe is that Tammy is some kind of great chef. Well, listen, I've had her watermelon Kool-Aid pie thing, and it was a lot. I'll make sure to link that video somewhere for you. In general, I've watched the two of them cook a lot. I'm not convinced either of them is like some kind of 5-star chef. They also showed Amy like literally spraying this pan with cooking spray for like 30 minutes. And when I tell you, I was cackling. But the meal does lead to the two of them having a conversation about wanting to do better. In particular, Amy talks about how she's gonna work on like cutting Tammy off because that was one of Tammy's biggest frustrations in therapy. And she also talked about just in general wanting to have a good relationship with Tammy so that like her kid could see what healthy relationships between siblings look like, which I also thought was really thoughtful. They end up going on to eat a lot of food, and Tammy's like, listen, you cover anything with some cheese and some sauce, it's gonna be good. They also do this whole back and forth again about Amy eating too much and Tammy getting after her and saying you shouldn't be eating that much. And it's just like, if y'all could only just worry about yourselves. And we also get a clip of Amy farting. So what more could you want?
Not make you a chef. I hate you.
So the very end of the show kind of focuses around Amy being in pain, being worried about the baby. It starts with her going and getting an ultrasound. And let me just preface all of this to say that I would find this all to be much more dramatic if we didn't already know that, like, Amy's gonna be okay. Amy's gonna be okay, and that the baby's probably gonna be okay too, because Amy has been out here posting on social media regularly. Honestly, she's DM'd me, so I know that she's like alive and well. I mean, I can't speak with as much certainty about, you know, her child, but she did just last week post a baby registry, right? Like, I don't think that she would have posted that had something actually in real life happened on the show. Like, I don't picture Amy saying, you know, for the kicks and giggles for this show, let me post a baby registry from a child that didn't make it. I don't see that happening. So, you know, this would be probably a lot more dramatic, intense, and stressful for me if I didn't already know all those things. So she does have a regularly scheduled ultrasound appointment that she goes to, and she lets them know that she's been having some cramps, some pain, and the technician is like, hey, listen, that's Braxton Hicks. I don't know what that is. Again, never gonna get pregnant, never been pregnant. never going to get somebody pregnant, none of those things. So I don't really know what that is, but it sounded like it was something that was relatively normal for people who are pregnant, and everything seems to be okay at this point. They also get to see the heartbeat, and I thought that this whole moment was probably like something that Amy and Michael can really like treasure and cherish. Like you literally get to see the video of you hearing your baby's heartbeat for the first time. Like, I just thought that that was really cute, and I hope that they can really treasure this for time to come. But then they cut to 2 weeks post ultrasound, and Amy wakes up with severe pain. She has an accelerated heart rate. So she's headed to the ER. She even does a little like selfie phone moment where she records what her thoughts are on the way. Here's another wake-up call. I mean, this is probably a wake-up call for Amy, but this is also a wake-up call for Tammy, because Tammy, you know, talks with producers and she's like, listen, I would really like to be out here at the hospital with Amy right now, but one, I can't probably because of COVID. Like, they could probably only have so many people in the hospital with her at one time. But two, like, how am I even going to get back there since there can only be one of us? Like, I can't even switch out with Michael because I can't wheel myself down to her hospital room. Like, he would have to push me down there. Then the two of us would be there. So yeah, I just kind of feel like that should be a wake-up call for Tammy, and it is really sad. Like, I can't imagine not being able to go see a loved one. I mean, I can imagine in regards to the COVID restrictions, because I've experienced that in this past year, but I can't imagine not being able to go see somebody who's in the hospital because I just like physically can't get there. I assume that that must be really tough and really difficult for Tammy to experience. The episode basically ends then with Amy calling Tammy, and we just see Tammy sitting on her front porch on the phone, and you can hear Amy say like, I'm too young to die, and it sounds like maybe she also told Tammy that she thought she was on life support or something, and Tammy's like, I know my sister, and like, she sounds like she's out of her mind. Like, it sounds like something's going crazy, like going wrong, that's messing with her head and how she's thinking, because she's acting like I'm there with her and I'm not, and clearly there's some stuff that's up. And Tammy says a lot of stuff about blood pressure. I don't know, I mean, I'm sure folks could tell me in the comments if that could be something that would cause somebody to not think rationally, or like think that somebody's there with them when they're not. I'm not sure, but that's the cliffhanger we end on. And like I said, that would be quite the cliffhanger if I didn't already know that, like, Amy's out here posting on social media. Like, I'm sure stuff happened. I'm sure there was some kind of health concern or issue that actually happened, but, like, we also know that she made it through and she's out here. and for another thing, like, we know that she does a meet and greet too at some point that has not yet been shown on the show. So like, there's all kinds of things that just like let me know that she's gonna be okay. The previews for next week, they say we're not gonna show Amy at all because we want to leave you guessing. We want to leave you guessing. And to be fair, a lot of people who watch the show casually might not know that Amy is out here on social media posting and everything like that. So that was episode 3. I enjoyed it. It was definitely a much more serious episode. I feel like we got a few less laughs, or at least I laughed a little less. And it was serious in a scary kind of way, as opposed to like last episode was serious, but like an emotional kind of way where I felt cathartic to get a good little tear moment happening, you know? So, I don't know. You let me know what you think down below in the comments. How are you liking the show now that we're 3 episodes in? I'll, of course, be back for episode 4, so if you're new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notifications. I also just did a whole video where I tried Amy's pregnancy craving foods, so if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. And I have a whole playlist of Slayton sister related videos that I would love for you all to go check out as well, which I'll leave in a pinned comment down below. If you could, I would really appreciate it if you could hit like, leave a comment, click the share button, and just like copy the link and post it somewhere else, like send it in a text to a friend or put it in a Word app or a notepad or something like that. All of that helps the algorithm pick up my videos and share it with y'all. So even if you don't get notifications, hopefully I'll come up in your recommended videos. And of course, please follow me on all of my social media down below. Everything is The Zachary Mike, including my TikTok if you want to go follow me there. I had so much fun today. I hope you did too, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!